You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Prasky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I know.
It's that time again.
About this new market as I am? Woo, woo.
You what?
Are you as jacked up about the new market as I am?
So excited. It's amazing. It's amazing. It is kind of fun for the fact that it's a little more, I like going from market to market because I like to come up with new ideas and what you got to do to
For sure.
try to navigate it and make it happen. So
I agree. I think that's a great way to look at it. And the other thing is that when things are moving, there creates opportunities for other people, right? So that some of these pockets of opportunities that have been stale for a while or been very complacent sitting now are going to become opportunities. And I tell you what, guys, this is when people make the money. You know what I mean? This is when people make the moves and other people are nervous or somebody panic sales or whatever. And it's kind of nice to see the buyers in today's market actually being able to have a little fun. And the sellers are still making great money. So it's really kind of an environment where people are scared, but nobody's really getting hurt right now.
Yeah, it is quite interesting because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I feel so bad for the sellers." Well, they had it pretty darn good for quite a while. I'll tell you that. So it's time to play ball a little. It looks like. So
well, a lot of these houses, 100% appreciation in like 8 years is not bad. I think everybody's been okay with that.
Yeah. Yep. It's but again, it's interesting and it's I don't know. I don't know about you, Andy, but I really feel like I don't really know what the market is yet. I'm still trying to kind of figure it out and where it's going because again, we see some stuff that's sitting. I mean, getting very little showings, very little activity. And then others are, a bunch and we're getting multiple offers on them. So it's just, it's quite interesting.
Well, too, and Chris, we always love to talk. What's funny is, yes, we have a show together. We've had for going on 12 years. But you and I talk off screen the same as we do on screen. And before the show started today, I was jumping into some of these things, and Chris is like, "Hey, chill out. Let's talk out when the show's going." But there's some interesting facts. Like I was just looking at, they're saying, "Oh, inventory is up 29% year over year," and you read the fine print, and then you realize, wow, but we're still half of the inventory that was for sale, roughly in 2019.
Yeah.
Wait. So inventory is still ridiculously historically low? Yes. And then they're talking about, anyway, there's all kinds of issues I've had with the way they report the news to the marketplace or like some of these. Oh, here's another one. All these cities are showing these charts where Miami's down 20%, San Diego's down 40%. And read the fine print, ladies and gentlemen, down on appreciation. These houses are all still appreciating, for God's sakes. They're not even depreciating. And these guys are acting like, oh my God, we're only going to make a 6% return this year on our investment. And panic. It's like, come on, chill out. People need a place to live. Rates were low. Properties are secured. There's a lack of inventory. All those things add up to the buyers that need to buy properties are out there. And they understand. I have not run into a buyer where I go, that person is going to make a mistake. They're calculating the purchase. They're anticipating a possible in the future rate reduction. And if they can't get it, they buy the rates down or they buy the right kind of loan product. Maybe instead of a 15-year, they go to a 20 or a 30-year mortgage and they're getting the payment where they can afford it and sit. And then so now they own the house. Now, if those houses, like every major chart is showing that it will depreciate again because the inventory is so low, they're still projecting next year to see appreciation. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's just a weird market, but I see opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, and I think what's not going to crash our market is that there's not going to be a ton of inventory. And I don't think that's going to happen for a big reason is that there's a lot of people sitting on the sideline right now because of what their interest rate is. I mean, in some instances, I mean, if they did the same thing today, I mean, their payment is $500 to $1,000 more a month based on what their interest rate was. So they could buy the same exact thing, and it's cost them $1,000 more a month to be able to have it.
Well, and I had a customer this week talk to me about, hey, I just want to let you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been seeing a lot of these foreclosures coming back. And I'm like, when you have 3 foreclosures total in the state of Minnesota, that's not coming back. That is such an understatement. I mean, the amount of foreclosures right now is so low, they don't even know how to mark it on the chart. I mean, yes, there are. There's always somebody that just says, I'm out, right? Or gives up, or says, hey, you're not letting me divorce the way I want to divorce, and so I'm going to make it painful for you. I'm going to hand it back to the bank. Those kind of things happen. Or somebody passes away and there's nobody to help them, and the mortgage payments stop coming in, so the bank starts foreclosing on a dead person. That stuff does happen. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I don't know.
And I think these foreclosure situations are people that really just didn't reach out. I mean, they could have definitely got out from under it. I was laughing because I had seen one foreclosure with aerial photos and everything. I'm like, what? I mean, boy, has that changed. I mean, remember the old ones? It was like how fast you drove past when you were clicking the camera.
Right.
Well, that's the kind of photos you would get, and everyone would run on them and just take them. And that's just not going to happen again. It's just not.
I remember we had a buddy of ours that was going to move to Texas, and just to monitor homes, because every week he could stop by a house, he'd get paid like $30 to verify the heat was on it, that the property was locked. And he had 30,000 properties to monitor. And like, so he was like, I've got a staff, I've got cars, we're gonna make a fortune on all these banks. And I'm like, this was just like in Houston only. It wasn't even like, it was insane. So we're guys, not even close.
Yeah.
The stove isn't even on yet. You can still lay your hand on the stove. It's cold.
Not yet. Not yet.
But you know what you can't control is emotions. So when people that read the news and follow all the stuff and they think, oh, it's Armageddon's on its way, you better get going.
Don't you think people are finally getting it, that it's BS? I mean, all the time it's clickbait. It's trying to get money. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, your example of Miami, it's oh my gosh, it's down 20% down appreciation. So they're not lying, but it's like everyone. I mean, your initial thought is that their prices dropped 220%. I mean, so on $1 million house, it's only 800,000 now because it went down, and that's just not.
It's true. It's sad. It really is sad. It's sad the way that they sensationalize things that are just almost true.
Yeah. So cool.
All right. So I just saw this article, and everyone keeps talking about rising rates, and I feel like I just have to say something. And people keep saying that we're going to go back to the early 1980s. Well, let me tell you something. Okay, first of all, most people watching this right now weren't even alive in the early 1980s, let alone buying houses in the early 1980s. In the early 1980s and late 70s, the Fed raised the benchmark rate to nearly 20%. You know where the Fed rate is right now? About 3%, a little bit over. Interest rates for loans went to a little over 18%. You know where they are right now? Almost 7%. But the 80s were coming out of an oil crisis in the 1970s, and they had rampant spending, government inaction, so there's some similarities. But are rates going to go higher? Yep. Are they going to start coming down in 2023? Yep. Are they going to get to 10%? Maybe for a short period, but I highly doubt it. Don't listen to the negativity.
I've been a little bit on the over side, because I think the head of the recession is already really starting to show everywhere, right? And I think you're going to see. This is my projection. I do think, now this is not me trying to be overly confident in the industry that I'm in, but I will be for a second. I do think that you're going to see rates soften. I think you're going to see builder incentives where these new construction models will have lower interest rates. You're going to see all of that incentive put onto new construction. The challenge we're going to have is that nobody's been putting shovels in the ground. There are very few projects. There's, let's say, 10% of the projects that were on the books to be developed are being developed right now. So they cut everything way back. And so if you've got dirt in the spring and you're a builder, I believe you're going to be very busy taking orders. I do. And I mean that, because there's nothing else for sale and people want what they want. And right now it seems to be the people that understand this economy and understand these financial, like interest rates and whatever's happening, they're not scared of it. They understand it and they use it as a tool. So I don't know. I think those guys will still stay busy.
I think those builders are very reminiscent of 2008, though, and then that's what scared them and stopping them. But it's just not the same.
Of course.
Thing, so.
Well, Chris, think about this. I mean, what happened in 2008 was it was almost like the plague, where you'd sit there and everybody's like, "Oh, I have sniffles," and all of a sudden they're dead. And in that 2008, everybody acted so tough, and we're just going to ride this out, and they couldn't. The banks would take their assets. Also, you started seeing proactive investor moves that were never done before, where the builder was always in control. All of a sudden, the builder lost all control, and the banks got scared. Repoed models, repoed lots, started pulling stuff back so they could get something for their investment, and they essentially destroyed the market. Instead of allowing a builder to sit there, if you really think about this for a second, let's say there's a $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month payment on a model, and they would have sat there and let that model sit there and tried to let that builder take the lots that now they would have sold on the wholesale market from 140,000 down to 30,000. They let that builder hold that model, and they would have let them sell at the new lower rate. They would have sold out of all of that inventory with the builder that was there. But that's not the way the banks play. The banks are you put money in, you made a calculated risk, you lost, we're taking it back, and now we liquidate it. And they write it off against their profits. And so it's a whole different game. They should be incentivized to do the right thing and work it out, but they don't. Oh, well, that's I'll get off my soapbox.
That's good info.
All right, let's get into some social media reacts. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
I think I've almost got that ad memorized.
I know. I was really thinking about that ad, and I'm like, after that guy said most of us weren't alive in the early 80s, right. I'm like, what? But
don't let him kid you. He's 40. He acts like he's 26 and cool and hip. He's 40. He's a cool guy, though. I do like Ryan.
But yeah, you look back at those, at that video, and you see some of those old MLS sheets and what it was. It just doesn't feel that long ago. It really doesn't. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. I was talking to someone was asking, how my real estate career started and went, and I explained to him that I couldn't sell anything. I thought I was going to be my mom and dad were in real estate, so I was going to kill it right away. And it took me 6 months before I sold anything. And then it went pretty good from there. But it was funny looking back and talking about it and remembering certain deals. And it just doesn't seem that long ago. But it is 32 years. I can't believe it. Oh, going on 33.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, global housing market explained. A normal house costs $700,000 with 11% mortgage rate. A guy eats a bat. What?
That's the start of it. Get it?
That
started COVID, right? I mean, so
there you go.
And this domino effect of somebody started a pandemic and houses went crazy.
Yeah, totally. That is totally true.
Yeah.
But at the start of that whole COVID thing, we thought we were done. We thought we were going to be locked up for a while and the housing market would just stop. It was the total opposite.
Do you remember Walls? Walls literally got on TV and said, well, we just bought an 800,000 square foot refrigerated building to hold all the dead bodies. Mm-hmm. We have secured over 1 million body bags. We anticipate 150 to 250,000 Minnesotans to die from this. Yeah. Holy shnikes.
Yeah.
It scared me. And I'm normally the guy that sits there and goes, oh, who cares? The tornado's coming. Let's go watch it on the deck. I'm that guy sometimes, but this time had us under the stairs locked down with blankets over our heads. Anyway, I'll be quiet, but.
Got to admit it, only 1 week for me. That was it. Then I was over it. Just saying.
I just can't believe how many people didn't understand what was going on, but they kept regurgitating what one other person would say. And it was like the third version of the regurgitation, and you're the governor regurgitating it. And it's like, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not a politician by any means, obviously, but I just don't like anybody that misleads people with fear and tries to control with fear. You could be my high school teacher, I treat you the same way. You know what I mean? Sorry.
Yep. Nope, true. Okay, everything peaked in the 70s, including house design. Where the architects creating houses with a central grooving area these days? Nowhere, man, nowhere. A grooving area. Wow. That's
nice.
You guys remember those little sit-in things, like in the middle of the room, and you go sit down there? That
was a big deal for a while. Even just a sunken living room was like a big deal. That was
I know
cool,
someone
man.
that just built one of those in, and they love it. It was in a bar area, and it sits down. It's actually really it's pretty cool.
We had one down I had one in a lower level in a house up in Ramsey that was up on Trout Brook. And it was a beautiful house. You know, a contractor that built the house was a mason, and so everything was done with concrete. And he did the same thing, a sunken little bar that was in the floor. It was really cool. And then I started thinking about it after we sold that house, and I'm going, you have to look down to see people sitting at the bar, which was weird. You know what I mean? Niche-y, cute, great idea, creative, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to live with it,
I think if it's not like the feature point, if you kind of hit it in a corner or something, and then I think what people should do now, remember all the sunken family rooms, now everyone's ripping those out and building them up, but just think about that maybe when you're doing these things, that someone can do something different with it and bring it back to normal per se.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Yeah. And Nick was kind of just asking us if we were selling these kind of houses. And I've sold a couple, but when they're that dated, time capsuled, a lot of people just come in and either they sell the stuff for retro online, right? Because people want to buy the pink toilets, the blue toilets, all that crazy stuff that was blue bathtubs. And then the avocado, what was it? What did they call that?
Avocado green?
Yeah, it was an avocado green appliances.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone went crazy in the 70s for avocado green and yellow appliance, golden, whatever the hell they called it. And it was interesting.
Kind of an orange rust. But I think now, we mentioned this a couple shows ago where that dome home came in. And now to me, there's places for that now. Maybe it totally turns into a Airbnb, and you might have to market it that way. Like, hey, this is here, cool retro place, and that might be really fun for someone to go stay in for a couple of weeks and pay a couple $1,000.
I'm not. This is no joke, you guys. I was on Monday. Of course, I was up in Alex for the day doing some chores, and I'm listening to the radio. And on the radio, it says, "Yeah, this is like Steve with Dome Homes. That's right. Not only can we build your house out of a dome concrete, we can also build your garage or accessory building." And it was a real. Nick, you're gonna have to look these guys up. I'd love to interview these guys. They're currently building like concrete dome homes in Alexandria, Minnesota. They advertise on the radio, so they must be doing okay. I know. Look at your face, Chris. You're muted, buddy.
I wasn't saying much anyways. Nick would have said I was saying too many ahs. But I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. I was talking to a guy a couple days ago that I called on. Oh my gosh, look at them. See those?
Put Alexandria on there once and see what happens. Minnesota, Alexandria, Minnesota.
God.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, there's silos. That's different.
Silos. Yeah.
Maybe put contractor. I don't know.
But look at them all on Airbnb. Rent this place.
Yeah, you're right. Like rent the weird place. It's fun. It'll have so much fun this weekend at the weird house.
Yeah. But they're making a ton of money doing that stuff. See, there's one in Eden Prairie right there, a dual home. And they mentioned that, like, hey, how many rooms and you can rent out, and if you do them separately, and that's the way you have to go with those. People the market for dome homes is probably not super huge, but for an investor, it might be a real big thing. So
Nick, you got all those hippie buddies you travel with. Does dome homes give you like special energy, or why do people? Is there a good like aura? What's the
vibes? It's vibes, Andy.
the vibe room? Nice.
Yeah, I bet they got the incense going and the cool lighting and the crystals, and yeah, it's,
You walk through the beads to get into the house.
yeah.
And vibes is with a Z at the end. You have
It's all about experience.
Yeah. Hey, that's so funny. Oh man.
Yeah, he's traveled to more places in 2 years than I've been sitting around doing real estate for 32.
I agree. I'm excited every week to see where is he, by the way? Where are you right now, Nick?
I'm back in Poland.
What city are you in?
When you leaving?
I'm in Białystok. I leave November 10th to Thailand.
Let's go to Thailand next. They got
Are you
internet
going
there?
to the and I'm saying this correctly, do not laugh at me. The Phuket Islands?
Yeah, Phuket. Yeah, that's where I'm
Oh
going.
my God. I watched that on that. I love that show Below Deck. You know, that cruising show that's on like Bravo. I love it because they show beautiful sunsets, beautiful people, rich people, extravagant, and it's a fun little if you got a half hour to kill. And they were in Thailand and it was so hot there, but it was unbelievably gorgeous. I mean, stunningly gorgeous.
Is that where you're going, Nick? Is Phuket?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going there. Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He's gonna come home with a trunk load of t-shirts.
And
I went
Andy,
to Phuket.
on Below Deck, there's no way it's a half hour. You watch like that's
You
a
binge.
power watch. Yeah,
You
totally.
binge.
I
Depends
love
on
that
how cute the show is.
Yeah. Or
It
who's
depends
on the
on the
show.
writing for me, Nick. To stay involved in these TV shows. Now it's not.
Hang on. Swing from this tree, push me back. Wait. No, it's this one right here. Home sweet home.
This, my friends, is the master bedroom. Check out the cathedral ceilings. Those are like 17 feet high. We have cable readiness right there.
Wow. True.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're all the same. I mean, it's I don't know. It's not the most exciting thing, but I mean, it's still homes and people need to buy them. So you see that not as much in Minnesota, but there's quite a few of them that are exactly the same. And then what you're looking for at that time is there convenient parking around it? How do you get in and out? Which way does it face? You know, do you get sun or do you not get sun? So you can kind of get some excitement in them, but you really, it's not like you go into one of those places and totally redo it all and you're going to make like double the money. It doesn't happen.
Right.
People, you say, oh, that one was 140, this one was 142, this one was 141, 142, and 140, and now you're not going to get 160. So you're kind of
yeah, and you do have to be careful, like with financing, because there's a reason why condos have different rules than single family homes with financing. So because they have to equate in all the expenses, all the your dues, everything going to your payment, versus on a house they don't have that, right? So it's like you can get into more house than you can condo. But on the other hand, I've also seen condos 2007 that started having problems selling because the amount of vacancies that were in the building or rentals that were non-owner occupant properties, they couldn't get financing on their townhouses. So then people started, they couldn't sell them. Even if they discounted them, they couldn't sell them because there weren't enough cash investors at the time. I'm not joking with you. In Hugo, Minnesota, up there, it was Onika, like place 1, park 1, whatever it was, the first phase of it. There were 3-bedroom, 2-bath condos with a 2-car tuck under garage. You know, the ones that go straight up with the nice little porch out the back. Those were selling for $40,000 brand new. And the only people that could afford to buy them were people that were paying cash. So I had investors coming in. I was liquidating these for, I think it was Bank of America at the time. And they were like, this is the price, get them gone. I had investors lined up buying these properties, and they would take over, and they at that price, they could afford to go current with all the association dues. And they brought the association back together. These people now, those units are selling for $420,000.
Yeah, exactly what you said, because the association gets hit, those values go way down. All of a sudden, these people, a bunch of them jump in at 40 grand, put another 20 each into the association. It's a whole new game. Prices immediately go up to 250.
But it also, buyer beware. So even if you're like a complete cash investor and you buy into a condo building at 380,000, anticipating them to go up to 600, and let's say that's a bunch of people default, a bunch of people that are renters. This is why you guys have to pay attention, because you go to those association meetings and the excuse me, to strictly pay attention to what's the ratio of renters, what's the ratio of investments versus owner occupant. You need to watch all that stuff for your future values, because the reason why those associations control those numbers is because the banks won't finance them in the future. And you could have a whole complex of houses that everybody loves because they're investor based and there's all these rentals and it's making money, but go to try to sell yours to the open market and make a profit. You might not be able to get financing on it, which means you're at the mercy of cash, which brings usually the values down. So you got to be very cognizant when you're in that kind of an environment to pay attention to those things as an owner.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I kind of got off schedule here, but.
Okay, home sellers in 2021. We want your firstborn child, 50,000 over asking, and an old fashioned behind the locals Wendy's. Home sellers in 2022. Good afternoon. I noticed your buyer had liked this listing. We're ready to sell if they're willing to get creative. We could potentially do a $5,000 buy down, $100 gas card every month for the next 2 years. We are open to ideas. It's not that bad, but there's some people that are jumping the gun, though. I'll tell you that. There's some people that want out, that think it's Armageddon, and they're willing to do whatever they got to do in which to do it. And I think
but Chris, I had 2 properties in the last week and a half here go on the market and sell with more than one offer that came in on both properties. Here's the deal. We had those properties in stellar condition. We looked at all the competition. We realized, hey, we can't go to the market with our shirt untucked here. We got to tuck in the shirt, put on your lipstick, and go to the market, right? You want to look your best. And so we had these houses looking fantastic, and we priced them strategically right, and we're getting over asking price, multiple offers. The market's still there, guys. The market's not weak. The market is smart. So think about this. If you're going to list your house, be smart. Don't just whip it out there and, well, whatever happens, happens. That doesn't work anymore. Then stay out of the market. But if you do list, be smart, be strategic, and you will kill it.
Who's next?
I couldn't even read the script. I was so busy looking at the room. I've gotten houses like that back where they literally have syringes laying on the floor.
You can see my disdain for that, because those people that wreck places like that, I just have no time for them. And it was funny. I've done so many judgments against people. I mean, it's got to be in the 6 figures on idiots that did that. And I don't know. I just got something back. Did you ever see that thing in the state of Minnesota came out and said, hey, there's money in here. You might want to check and see if your name's on it and go collect it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Well, my sister stayed on me and she's like, just fill this out. You never know. Well, I just got my first check for like $3,200. And I don't even know what it's from, but it was like money that's sitting there for me. And I know I filled out 2 of those. So I got another one coming. And
Rooney, you're truly a leprechaun.
Yeah, I don't know. It was nice, but I think it's those kind of people that wreck those things that I just hope landlords go to the next level with them and make them pay. At least stick something against them. I mean, I've had a few judgments that people have come back and, hey, we've got to pay this off so we can buy a house, and will you take this much? Nope. I already figured that's gone. So give me full, and then I have to write it off. But it's just like you don't do that. I mean, everyone thinks that the landlords are super rich, they have everything. There's so many landlords out there that are barely making it. They're just trying to get another investment and trying to take care of that house, and it's a huge investment for them.
Well, let me throw this at you. Let's say they don't allow people to be individual investors anymore, and they can't be landlords. Where are you going to live?
Yeah, right.
You can't buy a house now. You have to live in government housing. You have to live in some kind of a, whatever that supports, rentals that no longer exist. You have to have a balance. It's a business relationship. When you're a renter, it's like being at a hotel, and you're paying to be there, and you're using their space. They're allowing you to live, raise your kids, do whatever you want to do. And when you come down to why do you think in any capacity you should have the right to destroy that hotel room as you leave?
Exactly.
Flip the beds, break the TV, do the whatever, steal the soap. I mean, my God, what's wrong with you? I mean, and then what literally ends up happening is in a hotel environment, they can get you because you're limited to one room or whatever. But I'm telling you, man, it's BS.
Did you see what he said? That he's going to charge the highest cleaning fee to some company there and then make the tenant do it. But a lot of the comments were saying like, good luck for them paying it. They're probably in a different rental already, so they don't need to. And it's going to come back on him. No, if he charges.
Well, they can put it on their credit rating too, that they unlawful detainers. They've got. I mean, Chris, you were the king of that for a while.
You file a judgment, but like I said, I mean, it's 6 figures of judgments, and I might have gotten 5,000 or 6,000 back. I mean, it's crazy. So it turns into a write-off. But now I'm going to hire the highest cleaning crew. I'm going to end up paying for that. It's totally true. You're not going to get these people. That's the sad part about it. It's just like, but it also drives people like me. I'm done playing your game. I'm not buying them anymore. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm going to a different market now instead.
I was just going to say, or you go really high end, you know what I mean? Or something. And not that high end always behaves either, but generally when you've got somebody paying you $8,000 or $10,000 a month for a rental property, where it's really big, beautiful, executive, shorter term rentals because they're in town for a project or whatever and they leave. You don't see a lot of wear and tear on those kind of rentals.
Pay 6 months in advance, and they do a lot of things. A lot of times they're people that are building a house, that got rid of their other house and just need something that they're willing to pay. I just had a great listing that we just had 4 offers on. And that was a rental. I mean, it was a $1.4 million house, but I think we got almost $8,000 a month in rent from it.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Okay, so to go off that kind of last reel, we're going to get into the top worst cities in Minnesota. Kind of want to see your guys' thoughts on it and discuss. And then it's going to be brought to you by Andy Press, your preferred home team. Andy, do you want to take it away?
No, you can run my commercial. I got to get ready for this next set.
Okay.
Let me do it.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Sing it. Wait, sing it.
Everybody, in a market like today that you're not sure what's happening, if you want someone that's proven, that knows what they're doing, you might want to seek out the preferred home team led by Lisa Prasky. And Andy is helping out, but he's kind of the eye candy. He goes in and he takes care of all the people, gets them going. But there's nobody that's going to have more analogies than him. But when he does that, it really explains the process really good. So if you don't understand, he's going to make it really easy for you to understand and how to do it. And the other thing is he's shameless. He will go and do anything to be able to get your house done. And there she is. And he's going to get your house sold for you because he'll do what he's got to do. I mean, this guy, flip-flops, you see him with a little dog. He's kissing a dog on camera now. He's the guy is the man up in that. Don't let him come down south of the river. Right. Keep him up there, and he's going to kill it for you.
I don't speak the language down there, Chris.
Preferred home team. What?
I don't speak the language down there as well as I do up north, but remember, I have an easy button, and not a lot of realtors have these buttons. I make it easy.
Totally. And can you show us your little friend over there?
Now, this was a trophy. A customer of mine gave me this squirrel. And I think the description he used when I got this was, guys, look at this beautiful 3-bedroom. Hey, look at that Corvette.
Andy has the squirrels. But.
Yeah. So I keep this guy on my desk just to remind me to stay focused.
Oh. all joking aside, I wouldn't have hung out with him this long if I didn't believe in what the guy does. So
Well, thank you. That was the nicest commercial I've ever done.
Lisa said it. Why don't Lisa finish the show with us?
She won't. I've asked her several times to come in and talk about like running different kinds of ads and doing whatever. And she's nope.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want you guys to just give me 3 guesses though. So we have 10 cities I'm going to show you, but
Okay, can you
3
read
guesses.
to me again the worst
The
in
worst
what context?
Minneapolis.
Okay,
I'm
that's
guessing
one.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Just because I won't.
It's not showing the bureaus of Minneapolis. Is it just Minneapolis as a whole?
Yes, cities.
I would bet Minneapolis. I would bet, unfortunately, probably St. Paul.
I mean, what is it based on? I would think it's
Crime. I think it's crime and some
Oh.
other statistics.
And
yeah.
Brooklyn Center, probably. I would guess.
Let's pop this up.
Brooklyn Center. Yeah, I would think
Because
you're
it's right there. Even though I love Brooklyn Center, grew up, in that area. Tons of my friends do a ton of business there. Waite Park up in St. Cloud. You gotta be kidding me. Bemidji, Virginia. Brooklyn Center's there. There you go. St. Paul's there.
Bemidji in Virginia.
You know what? You have a lot of in like Wilmer, Faribault. You do have a lot of like affordable trailer park. And they have a lot of issues out. I know Wilmer specifically has issues all the time.
It's got to be crime related. Does it talk about them and why they're the worst, Nick? Oh, there we go.
Wyatt Park. So
Waite Park is that's just right outside of St. Cloud. Yeah, there it is. 1 in 12 residents here was a victim of some type of reported theft in 2021. Oh my God. St. Cloud's it's changed a little over there. But that's it. I wouldn't have guessed that. In Bemidji too. I mean, Bemidji's beautiful. What are they saying there? That's 1 in almost 13 have been robbed in 2020. Wow. So if you had 30 friends on Facebook, statistically, 25 of them would have been a victim of a property crime, meaning a robbery, car break-in, or stolen wallet. Jesus. High unemployment. I could see that in outer. Maybe that's why Virginia's on there. High unemployment and income levels of 32,000. That's way below. Okay. What is that? La Virginia could use a big hug right now. Crime's not the worst, but it's in the top 25. But its population has shrunk 5%.
Robert Mondavi. I think that's funny.
Yeah. I wonder. So their schools are really good though. So I don't know why would that? So high unemployment.
Well, the big thing is house values go up and down based on which mine they're opening. So you go from making no money or minimum wage to making $150,000 a year. So you jump into the mines and you're running big equipment and you're making a killing and there's great benefits, and then they shut it or they run out of what the ratio or I think percentage of ore that's in the ground that it's got to be a certain potency or they don't pull it. And then now that's why everybody was excited about that new copper mine up there. And
yeah. So it's actually this isn't just an opinion. They're doing it based on certain factors here, it looks like. So we can't get in trouble.
Minneapolis.
Brooklyn Park. This one's Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park. Good.
Brooklyn Center. Brooklyn Center.
The crime rate runs at 70% above the national average. The schools in the areas are subpar, and the non-rate for a 5 to 10 on grade school. A 5 out of 10.
Is that where you went to school, Andy? Brooklyn Center?
No, I went to Park Center. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Way classier.
You're a little classier, okay.
Actually, hey, Brooklyn Center. I know a lot of great people that graduated from Brooklyn Center High School.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was a great school, and things change, man. It's funny how crime scares good people out of areas. And, I don't care. There's so many other, people put spins on it. It comes down to where when people don't feel safe, they don't. If you can't provide a safe place for people to stay, they stop and weird. If their business gets robbed a bunch of times, they move the business. If the house gets robbed a couple of times, they move their house. People don't want to live where they're being, victimized. And, yeah.
I mean, why the heck would you want that? I mean, and if you're not getting protected, it's just mayhem. I mean, you got to get the hell out.
And then even some of these areas in Minneapolis, you get some of these areas where there were like nice people, nice cars, and they're getting carjacked, or people are following these people back to their houses and robbing them in their garages. And it's such like ridiculous things that you don't have to pay. You got so much other stuff going on in your life, right? 13% are poverty population suffer below the poverty line. Wow.
I think the other thing is too, we've sold houses in all these areas, and there's really nice areas within these areas as well. And it's kind of like sometimes it's just a bad street or a bad block or a bad neighborhood, and then it takes the whole city down, because there is some good places in all of those.
Good places and good people. I don't think that you can throw a blanket over the whole town and say, hey, this is the way it is. Right. But on the other hand, hey, politicians, before we vote next Tuesday, pay attention to your crime rates, because it makes a difference on all levels. And, even I had a good friend of ours that up in Forest Lake had somebody come into their garage, carjack, steal their car, get in a high-speed chase, crash a car, injured 3 people on 35E. They were let out of jail the next day into the custody of their parents, because they were 17 years old. The next day created an armed robbery. The next day, it wasn't even out 24 hours. And I go, okay, at what point do you say, okay, this person's trying to be bad? I mean, no matter what you do, they're trying to be. They didn't take advantage of the second chance and say, hey, I'm going to be better. I'm going to go work down at the church and pray a little. They don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who the smart people were that thought that you could just have a crime and then get committed or get out right away. I just don't get it.
This is Wilmer.
Yeah.
Poverty rate 16%.
Yeah, that sucks.
I think there's a lot of migrant workers there.
Yes. Migrant workers, field workers, factory. Yep, you got it.
Faribault. That's surprising.
Yeah, that is really surprising.
I think a lot of this is not just crime too. It's about like, where is the city headed? Loss of population, opportunities. It's dying up, and then
a bunch of different factors. These benefits can't save the town from becoming the number 7 most unappealing community in Minnesota. Jobs and education represent the main stumbling block, because they don't have enough jobs. Everyone's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would have guessed Faribault.
Yeah.
St. Paul.
St. Paul again.
Well, St. Paul's easy to pick on because it's big. That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
God, can you believe this? The crime rates in some of these cities.
70% U.S. norm.
Damn.
Yeah, Minneapolis, we know.
Which one is that at? 120% above the national average for crime rate.
I always make fun of Minneapolis too, but I don't know. Every time I've gone down, I've never felt like scared down there. I don't know. I just never.
When you and I were downtown doing the show, I never felt nervous either. I mean, even the homeless guys back then when we were there that would sit by that Catholic Charities or whatever it was, they'd say, "Good morning. Hey, do you have $1?" And you're like, "Sure." And they're like, "Oh, thank you. God bless you." And you keep walking. It wasn't crackheads walking around trying to kill you like it is now.
They were nice to us because you were throwing them hundreds. I mean, you don't have ones. Just slicing off hundreds.
I'm sorry. Can you guys break 100? And they're like, sure. Then they don't need it.
You gotta whip it out and have like thousands of dollars.
That I suggest doing the sniff test. You guys have change for 100? Bonk.
This one's super subscribed. This is Maplewood. I thought that was decent.
Wow. Suburb of St. Paul.
Look at the crime rate too. 120% above U.S. standard.
Wow.
But there's no affordable housing either, I guess, here.
Okay. Wow. I wish I could find a house for $217.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's affordable here. So
yeah. I just sold one that was almost a teardown for $175 in St. Paul. And they were going in there to renovate it and build a garage. And it was, it's all how you put your pants on, man. Because there's some people, I want to move next to my sister. My sister lives down the road. We're buying the house. It's affordable. We're going to renovate it. And then here's what's good. That is what neighborhoods need. Love, right? They have, family in the area. They want to improve their house. They have pride and ownership. There's a lot of those benefits that come with somebody like that moving in. And they love their house. They love the neighborhood. They go out of their way on the holidays to decorate. They have fun. And it's infectious. And then other people do the same thing. And then all of a sudden you have a very nice little pocket in a neighborhood.
Mhm.
Or the other one, like taking care of your lawn. That's the one that I always get a kick out of too. Is like that's also very infectious. When you have your neighbor mowing and they've got the crew cut lawn, it's perfect and it's nice and green. It's hard to live next to that and let your dandelions grow. You know what I mean?
Now it's the leaves right now, because with that wind yesterday, all these people had these super clean yards, and then all of a sudden someone else's leaves kind of flow over into their yards, and that doesn't make people too happy.
I do both my neighbors on the sides. I do their front yards where I have this huge maple tree that just drops everywhere. So I feel bad. So I blow it all back into my yard.
Did you sell Stulpus's house, by the way?
Open file, but yes.
Okay. Sorry, you have a client.
Oh, yes, we did.
I see his new construction house being built, so he's
moving down to your neck of the woods.
Smart man. He's got to learn a new language.
It's different down there.
It is.
Lot slower.
Yeah.
Let's skim through this. I thought this was kind of interesting. 11 abandoned cities in Minnesota.
Whoa.
Just want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
Yeah, I love it.
Interesting. Especially after Halloween.
Yep.
That looks really abandoned. What is that?
1 second. Okay. So first one is Pitt.
Pitt, Minnesota?
It's a Canadian Pacific Railway, part of it. Have you heard of it? Pitt?
Nope. Never heard of it.
Taconite Harbor?
Everything up north, huh?
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. Radium,
of course.
Sounds dangerous.
Why don't we just talk about what the heck happened to the...
Look at this city, Winter. The Winter Northern Minnesota Booster. They had its own newspaper.
Where is it?
I'll look it up.
Where's Winter? Winter at one time news.
Yeah, Chris, you should acknowledge a town that was named after you.
I got it. It's oh wow. It's
Winter,
like
only a silo remains.
Whoa.
It's up by Lower Red Lake and Upper Red Lake.
Oh, okay.
Up by the reservations.
North of Black Duck.
Dorothy. The problem is she went to freaking Kansas. Dorothy
She
did.
blew away.
Yeah. Wiley.
Cheesy Factory, Lumberyard. Yeah, Wiley.
Yeah.
Dale
had a jail. Hey, see that? Dale had a jail, town hall, post office, great elevator. What about a bar and a church? That's what most of them have. That's why it didn't survive.
Huot. Oh, this is actually a bigger city. Huot.
Yeah.
It was a hub for communication.
Looking up quick.
That's interesting. After the store closed, the town faded away. I mean, you got to have. I mean, it's
You got to have a heart center in the town.
It's close to Crookston, and it's on the river.
Oh.
The river up there.
Up by North Dakota. Fonts. I had this.
As you can see by the scowling look on my face, I'm like, what? I've never heard of these towns.
There's high taxes over there.
Yeah, that's why they're haunted and abandoned. Orleans. Yeah, there's not one of these I've heard of. Navy.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up Orleans quick, but you guys chat.
Great Depression, yeah. I mean, it's obviously the mining areas that happened, the railroad, when those things started going away, and then maybe there was a certain piece of industry in a town, and that went away, and bang, it's done.
Well, it's kind of interesting too. Like you look at even I get a kick out of you head straight east out of Forest Lake, and you get to Scandia, which is a beautiful area. and they literally have their little, little implement, an old dairy that they use for weddings now, and like a gas station. And there's still a ton of those little towns that are out there surviving.
Yeah.
And then they have a bunch of industry moving around them now, or houses now. And you look at that and you go, wow, it's a they could probably start
Canadian
regrowing.
border.
Yeah, Orleans way up there. I mean,
Weird.
you would think maybe some of those places, as long as they have internet, would start growing again, for the plain fact that it's super inexpensive and you can work online. So
You could literally have a job making like nothing if you had think about no overhead. How much money do you have to make if you're happy?
I think Nick should go move to one of those towns and redo it. Which
one? Well, let me ask you guys a question.
What a winner, Nick.
How much land do you have to own to run the town?
I don't know.
I own Hubert.
There's a town for sale in Colorado that I've been stalking. It's like $4.5 million, and it's awesome. I mean, it's like 360 acres, and it's its own little town. I don't even know what it's called, but I tried getting all that.
Where is it?
I tried getting all that realtor three times, and nothing. But it's in the middle of what was that valley you were in, Nick, for school?
San Luis Valley.
Yeah, somewhere in the San Luis Valley. So it's not. I mean, you got an hour to go to get places, but but it's kind of a cool little place. So
interesting. Yeah, Rooneyville should exist.
I know. I'm with you.
There's been a lot of like nomad young people groups that are trying to build their own towns. I think there's a couple in Texas, like a distance outside of like Austin, that they're buying up the towns and creating like a tech little community commune.
What's that one? What did they do in Denmark at Christiani?
So there was a military barracks, and then the hippies took it over in the 60s, and it's in like the heart of the city center. The land is worth billions, and it's still theirs. They live there now. They have shops there. They
took it over.
They sell illegal drugs there, and it's totally like the free. It's not in the EU, and it's a total free town, Christiania.
Oh.
But it's super safe. If people go there for like concerts, and it's very cool.
And the cops still walk through there and stuff like that, but they kind of
just for show
control it themselves. Yeah.
Kind
of interesting.
They're there to buy the illegal products.
But they basically just took the land over and said, "Hey, this is ours now."
Squatted.
Yeah, and a lot of it's on the water. It's like,
what? Well, if you guys really think about it, isn't that how most of America was formed too? But the only difference is that you'd squat on a piece of land, you'd take your 40 acres, you'd agree to pay the taxes on it, and they'd give you the deed. I mean, America gave away a ton of land. As long as most of the farmers didn't have to buy it. Most of it was given to them, back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why, I have such an issue with people with migration and immigration and, it's not fair. And it's like, if you think about 4 generations back when grandpa came in and said, "Hey, I'm going to take over this 190 acres and I'm going to farm it." And they go, "Here you go. Here's the deed.
Yeah.
Just pay the taxes on it for us. Support your family."
You had to
imagine back in that day, and then you have all the local battles and the, oh my God.
I think you had.
I wouldn't want to be around back then.
Andy, I think you had to farm it for like 5 years, and then you'd own it, because that's
something like that. Yeah, you had to produce off of it because they knew that they needed farmers.
That development I had in Elko was that where Lincoln gave it over to him, and I think there was something about 5 years, but it was very, very interesting. And so,
hey, last thing, forget that old stuff.
The last thing, I know we're kind of hitting on it before, is the foreclosures. So I want to hear your guys' advice on buying them, and then also I want to show you the ones on Zillow, because Chris, you were talking about how they have like nice photos now, and it's a different game. So let me pop.
How many foreclosures are there? You don't see too many of them. I'll tell you that. Yep, kind of concentrated in the city there. Oh, look at that one in Stillwater. Jeez. I think the one I saw was in Edina. There was one that you go in.
There's a decent amount. Here's Edina.
Yeah, is there one? It was like 9. Yeah, that one, Cheyenne Trail. I had been looking at that one. I'm like, so I was looking through it. I'm like, oh, it's vacant. And then all of a sudden I look at it, it says it's under foreclosure. I'm like, what?
Well, you know what they're doing nowadays, guys, too, is they're if somebody's got a sheriff's sale coming up, they sell it as a foreclosure, and they're literally at the beginning of the sale, they're selling owner occupant notes is what they're doing. So the people are still living in the houses. They haven't evicted them. They haven't spent the $50,000 to get through the foreclosure proceedings, eviction process. So when you're buying those properties, there may be owner occupants that still have rights. You're just owning the right. You're buying that note or that the right to foreclose on that property if they're not performing.
You would think they definitely learned from the last time, so they're going to try to figure out everything they can to try to get around it. But I think people that are in that situation just got to reach out. I mean, you reach out to an agent. My gosh, I mean, they've got to have equity, but some of them it's deferred maintenance, you know. So and then
it's different. I mean, there's no reason why a house in Edina should be foreclosed on. I mean, that area there, unless they somehow figured out a way to ridiculously highly mortgage it where it's worth more, you know, to them than it is to the bank. But I don't know.
Yeah, some people did second mortgages, you know.
Yep.
And once you do those, then you don't put it into the house and you put it into the boats and the cars. It's a different game.
Or I'll teach my husband. I'm going to let the house go into foreclosure. Right? Think about it. Now that's exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Death, divorce.
Yeah.
Here's a $1 million one, Minneapolis.
Nice.
On 28th. That's kind of cool. That one, that industrial looking thing. Separate garage. It's a lot of area there. 28 and 28th, 3rd and 20. It's not a horrible spot either.
No, it's actually not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the lakes.
Yeah, it's right in the middle.
Big old property there, yeah. Right in the heart of one of the nicest areas around.
Yeah. Get on it, Andy. 5-bedroom, 8-bath. That'll fit you guys.
I could use about 8,000 square feet. Like I need a hole in my head.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Just heating that pig? Oh my God! It probably costs you $3,000 a month to heat it.
Hey,
you know it's inefficient, right? It's everything goes right through the roof.
I'm going to Nashville, guys. Just so you know.
Singing career?
I got a Zoom meeting. You know what? Maybe. It's very possible. So if you know, the CMAs are coming up too. So I may or may not be at the CMAs.
Probably not.
Exactly.
Do you have the cowboy hat?
Yeah, can we see that, please? We want you to be prop approved.
I got a trucker cap.
The boots?
With a USA on it.
I want to see you wear those tight mom jeans with all this bedazzling on the butt. Howdy, y'all. I'm Chris Rooney. I'm from Briar Lake.
Okay, you got me back.
Singing you guys a love song. Here we go.
Okay, let's get out of here.
All right. All right, everyone. Make sure to leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We post 3 digestible clips on Facebook and YouTube each week. Send us in any questions you have, and have a great day.
Yeehaw!
You see that, Andy? I got a sign back there.
Proud
You
of
just noticed that?
Uh-huh.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.